待てし、その辺はあれよ。お願いします。
Yo, what's happening people, it's Kanza here, and today I'm going to be doing a video on Lowain. So this is going to be the how to fight video, so very basic, similar to the videos I've done before, like no Mile, Lancelot, Percival, and so on. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to keep it very basic, because I don't want to overcomplicate anything with this character because he's already very tricky to fight as it is. So we're just going to go through the same scheme, which is the abilities, supers and Skybound Art, and just general like neutral what you're watching out for. So first of all, we're going to talk about his friends or his bros, where he calls in. So LJ, when he does that, if you hit LJ, that means it's a low. Tomo J is the high version. Okay, so we play again. So here we go, low. He's plus, as it says opponent. You block that, opponent. So with these, right, although he does get like plus frames from you blocking them, it is a bit risky, but you can actually challenge the call-in. So let me show you an example again. I'm not saying to do this all the time, but let's say you throw out a fireball, it will cancel out the call-in of one of his friends. So at that point you can kind of like rush him down, but there's other stuff to watch out for, which I will go into. So once again, that's that one. You're gonna call in that guy, but you can probably just 2H that. Yeah, that was a bit more tricky, but most of the time you should just block it. Tomo J, another thing to note, it is a high. So what you will typically see is low-end players will call and then they'll jump in and do something like that, or run in an overhead, right? So just be very careful of that. Now, the hard bit about this is that the EX version is where he calls in both of them, right? So at this instance, it can be a bit more tricky to deal with, because you can see me, I tried to evade that, right? Still got hit. See? So it can be a bit more tricky to deal with. At that point, I'd say just walk backwards, because you don't want to be getting hit by that at any point, because then he's going to be able to set up more mix-ups for you, right? So at that point, you can either just walk backwards, don't get hit by it, and then go in because he's got a cooldown, or just try and block. But then he's probably going to set something else up, so just be very careful of that. The next thing I want to talk about is his parry. In my opinion, I think he's got the worst parry in the game. So if you can react to it, you can literally do anything after it. So let's say I run up and let's say Lowain runs up and he does a parry, right? So here's an example. I DP'd. Okay, so technically, look, I should have got hit as a punish because he parried, but you can cancel into anything on hit. Like once you've confirmed DP, oops, you can even Skybound Art, like it's that bad, like that, and then you'd get a full combo. It's not necessarily Lowain's fault, but it's just how the parry is, and this goes for all of his parries, right? So even the low, same thing, and the EX. Okay, same situation. You can literally cancel into anything. Oops, like that, anything. Okay, so you don't have to hold that. So literally, if you can confirm it, and then punish accordingly, so that you can just literally just abuse certain things against Lowain. So that's not something you need to be scared of with the character. The only thing really to be worried about is his Skybound Art, his super, his bros, and the robot. So I'm going to go into that now. So next to the robot, so he has three versions of it. So this is the melee version, where it punches you twice, and he's plus on block from that, so he probably rush you down after that. And then he's also got this one, which is the laser beam, which actually stuns you for a good couple seconds. And you can then run up and get a combo. So that's real. You can block it, but then at this point he may still call in like his bros or something, so it's just something to be worried about. But you are plus, as it says it's you. So on block, it's your turn, okay? But you can't punish him for using that because you can set it up and run off. Like, it's not a fireable where if you throw it out and you block it, you can hit them back straight away. Now you're just plus in that situation. So just watch out for that. And then the last bit is his EX version of it, which is this, which actually throws out rockets. Now the tricky bit about this is that he can actually run around you and do all sorts like that, right? So it's kind of difficult to deal with. So in this situation, I'd just suggest blocking and then like try and fight back, because it can be like you can try and jump around and evade, but you will get hit by it, right? Even spot dodging at some points can, if you time it wrong, you can get hit, so just be very careful of that. But do your best not to get hit by that, because it gives him a ridiculous amount of plus frames. The next bit I want to talk about is his slashes, where he says way, way, way. So these, this thing, yeah. So the first one on block is even. So I'll show you now. Oh wait, sorry. Cool. So the first one on block is it's your turn. It's the EX version of it that's even, I believe. So it's either even or plus. So we'll check now. I don't think this is punishable. Nope, it's not. So it's just your plus in the 6 rate. So it's probably like -2. So just be wary of that. So now the medium version, which is the 2 strikes. You can actually punish him for this. Okay. I can't, Percival particularly can't heavy, but you can get a medium like that. Okay. And now the EX version. Yeah, you can't. So you're plus. Okay. So that's something to note. So you can't punish him for the light or EX version, but the medium version is even. So just be very careful of that, and know when to start pressing buttons and when not to, because a setup that people do is knowing that he's not plus, they will EX parry, right? So here's an example. I might think it's my turn and might press like that, and then he's got plus frames, he's down me in the corner, and then he can set up his robot and throw his bros in. So that's something to be very wary of. Now the last bit I want to talk about is his actual is his overhead, which is this. It's very reactable because you see the flash, and then he does this weird motion where he like bends down and all of that, so you can react to that. But that's not something to be too worried about unless you're like in the corner, so just be very careful. But yeah, now I'm going to talk about his supers. So this is his super where he gets like his bros to come and help him fight, right? He does all that stuff, right? Do not by any means super or anything, because he will just hit you out of it like this, and you'll just be taking ridiculous damage for no reason, right? The only time I'd suggest using super, because otherwise you'll just be wasting meter, is if he's really low health. So, oops, let me show you this. Super, because this mode actually gives him like armor, right? If you super, he just eats it. Literally just eats it, right? So there's no point, you just wasting the bar. Even it's the same with Skybound Art. It's exactly the same situation with Skybound Art. Like, he just hits you out of it. So unless he's like on like 10 health or something like that, don't do it, because then you can still kill him. So let me show you now. See? So in those situations you can kill him regardless of how much health he has, if he's really, really low with super. Or we can chip him out of normal hits, I believe, so just keep that in mind. And then the other bit, which is a bit more tedious and harder bit to deal with, is this. So his Skybound Art, which is really, really, really cheesy, because the comeback potential of this is ridiculous. It doesn't matter like how well you've been playing, if he uses this, he can pretty much win the set, right? Off of this one thing. So I want to talk about it very briefly. I don't want to confuse people. So the lava floor is unblockable. The electric thing pulls you back into, like, it sucks you back, so he gets spacing. And then the spikes on the floor just serve as a purpose to push you back. But if you're directly in front of the super, it won't hit you. As you can see, there's a gap, so then they'll start doing this and the electric field. So that's just something to watch out for. In those situations, you just want to be parrying and dodging until the super runs out. So I'll show you now, like that. Oh. But it's quite tricky to deal with, right? So you can block in certain situations, but it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Lowain video. I hope this has helped anyone in any way. If it has, do let me know. Don't forget to post your comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.